It was an incredibly beautiful sight. The firmament that I was standing on went off into infinity, and as I looked out, I saw a group of ethereal beings. They were bright, they were shining, a really white, bright light. And this group called to me. I didn't hear a voice. The idea simply appeared in my mind. And as soon as I accepted that idea, I began to move rather quickly in the direction of those beings. When I reached them, they circled around me, and I felt this overwhelming love, acceptance. I felt the love that binds all things, that heals all things. Love is the greatest power in the universe. That's how the creation was made, through love. Everything that I had heard before about being judged wasn't a part of what I was experiencing. In any way, I was made to feel that I had done something special. And these beings held me and sent energy and love into me. And I felt this incredible love that was everywhere around me and through me and in me. This was my true home. The most interesting thing was that everything that I had been worried about moments before, all of the things that I was doing at work, making another move and buying another home and selling the old one, all of the details that every human being goes through, all of a sudden, they were meaningless. And I had the feeling that whatever was next, everything would be okay. It would be just fine. Amazing feeling to be relieved of all of the problems, all of the headaches of living in a three-dimensional existence. And I thought, it's really easy to die. And the hard part is living.
Because I was so disappointed. And in fact, that was one of the big hurdles after my NDE is I had big depression from being back, because it is not this world, and it is so full of love. It makes the love we have on earth plastic in comparison. And I know we talk about unconditional love and agape love. I don't think we can comprehend it. It's so much deeper and bigger than what you have for your child, because it includes everyone. I'm quite sure God meets everyone in their native language, in their native tongue and culture when they go to Him. And my rehab was remarkably quick, and there were scary times when I first walked again. They told me the chances that I'd be able to, but I didn't care. I was like, whatever I'm left with, I know now it is His will. So I didn't play any games. Well, I hope He gives me my legs, or please God, help me. I just was able to totally settle in what He gave me back. And He gave me more, I think, than I went in with. What was interesting is, if it had been any other experience, I would have probably been so happy to be back, because I have two children. One was finishing high school and the other was an 8th grader. And I loved those kids. And I loved my husband. I loved the life I was living. I was so excited about moving to Houston, and we had a new house and everything to look forward to. So it shows you the magnitude of what that short time with God did to my whole life. It turned it upside down. And all I wanted was that, compared to all the material, all the love here, all the riches. It could not compare to the 1 or 2 minutes with him. And so when I started seeing that in a perspective that that's my gift to look forward to, because I will die, we all will die. And, so much of our life is dreading it, is being afraid of it, of telling ourselves terrible things about our death, when in fact, maybe what we should do is start looking forward to that. I started living my life like I was preparing for that. So when people say, live your life like you're going to heaven, that is not a simple thing. I mean, you really do. You have to watch how you treat people. You have to watch what you do for people. You have to look at the acts of love you offer. That in my assignment was, I could give more love. How was I going to do that? God's kind of love, not the kind I had had, where it was about social accolades and fame and getting recognized. No, that was not sufficient love according to God. He needed the real stuff, where you do acts of love with nobody watching. There's no praise on the other end for you. You just do it because this is your brother or sister. And I think looking at my life like that helped me not only be a better person, helped me be a better mom and wife and therapist. I'm not perfect. I'm still on it. I have really good days and really bad days, but just having that perspective has really turned my life around.
Some people explain when they come back into their body, they feel this density. I did, and I still had this reverberating light that was literally like laying on top of the essence of my density. Like I was more than just my body, because we are more than just our bodies. But I was laying on top of it, and I remember them giving me a piece of paper. And even though I couldn't really even put together words or read or write, for some reason, God spoke through me, and I wrote, I love, and I stopped there. And I showed everybody that I wrote, I loved, and that was it. I couldn't write anything else. And that stopping myself from writing I love was not stopping, because it was like I had no mind in that space, but God wanted to say something. Because it's not just I love you, or I love me, or I love the thing, or I love this external reality, or I love some concrete object. It was that my I, that was my mind, diminished, and that I, God, is love. That is in me. That is a part of me. That is not only me, but that is all. So love is, and I love. And that was really profound. And there are many, many really profound, what I want to say, provisions by God that have been given from this experience. And then even after several years down my life, I have many other different stories, completely like miraculous things. Even the birth of my daughter this last year, totally miraculous. But through all of that experience, it's like this gratitude, deep, deep gratitude that God, or the essence of love, is always with us, in us, around us, is us. That if you surrender the I of the ego I, you can really immerse yourself in the I love. And then your world and your life becomes a possibility, an opening, an opportunity, an ability to share, a relationship, instead of all the things that the I wants to place contemplation or judgment or analysis on. And so when I stepped into doing this interview today on this channel, like I felt what God wanted to do through me was to basically anoint me into saying, this moment now is where love is. We don't have to wait for anything. We don't have to wait for our death, because death doesn't actually really exist. But we have these moments of near death to wake us up to the fact that in this moment, we already are love. The kingdom is already here. Heaven is already within us, in our heart. You know, we just forget that because we're looking through the veil of the ego. We're looking through the veil of the mind's compartmentalizations or judgments to what this world is, if it's good or if it's bad. Because in this physical body and in this 3D reality, we exist only in polarity, the good, the bad, the light, the dark, the life, the death. But truly, like, the truth behind all of this compartmentalization and all this dense this dense separation is that there is an essence that is all pervading, all knowing, all seeing, all loving, that is trying to communicate through our meat sacks, through our, basically the physical body. It's trying to communicate through this representation of this form. But I feel that's the whole key of all of this, is this surrendering the mind and surrendering the I as separate. And then with that, there's a unity that comes into play with recognizing that everything around us is just a mirror to the inside space with regards to the relationship we have with love itself, or the relationship we have with God itself, or whoever you want to call it. It's that we are seeing the outside world as a mirrored projection of whatever resistances we're still holding on to love, which creates then all of the lessons that we need to learn on this earth plane. But what a blessing it is to learn it, because if we didn't have our meat sack bodies, we didn't have this physical form and the suffering and the pain to be able to experience all of these things, we could never wake up to the beautiful dream of life, because we need these hardships to show us where God is still teaching us about our resistances to love.
I started to feel better. The closer I got, I started to feel a lot better, and I started to feel love. I just felt like, looking back and forward, who is there? You know, I was confused, but it felt like my body passed right through me. And then I felt so small, like a little baby. But I just couldn't believe what was going on. I felt this love so strong. I felt protected. I felt like nobody's going to harm me right here. I felt like I was the most special person in the world. And I could not believe how somebody could love me this much. I'm not a good guy. I've done a lot of bad things, a lot of harm to people. I've hurt a lot of women, men, my whole family. How can somebody love me this much? And I can't describe, the only way I describe it is a mother seeing her firstborn for the first time. And 10, 20, 30 times stronger than that is God's love for us. God loves all of us the same way, unconditionally. And I just couldn't grasp in my head how somebody could love me this much. It wasn't clicking. I wanted to stay there. I just wanted to feel this love forever. There was no speaking. Whoever was there didn't say nothing. And I don't know if angels can show you that kind of love, or just Jesus or God can show you that kind of love. I don't know. I feel it was Jesus right there, but I can't say for sure. I just know that he loved me so much, and all of us. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, where you come from, what color you are. He loves all of us. It's not about us, what we do in this world. It's about finding God, finding Jesus, finding our way through life and this journey that we go through. It's the journey that gets us there. I'll never forget what happened. You can ask me 20 years from now, and the story will be the same. It's never going to change. I remember it like it happened yesterday. And this feeling of love right now is not as strong as what it when it was there, but I know what it felt like, and I want to feel it again. I want to be in heaven with God. That's where I want to go. I had to come to realize that my own daughter, I love her with all of my heart, but God comes first.
One of the most impacting things for me is, up to that point in my life, I've been brought up and was living in an abusive household. Violence was a regular part of my life. The abuse was physical, emotional, and other areas. And the concept of love was the most noticeable thing I had. Total acceptance of who I was, how I was, and where I was. It was like a sense of perfection. Now, having been brought up in a home where none of these concepts were anything that I knew, I'd never come across them. I didn't even really understand them. But to perceive them in this moment, it changed my world significantly. It was like telling me at my world there was okayness in it, that there was perfection and it was reachable. It just wasn't in the current physical environment. The experience of this world is made not from here, but from the other side, which is essentially source consciousness. Everything here is created in consciousness, by consciousness, with consciousness. And that consciousness creates through love. So everything is created in love, by love, with love. Now, we have three aspects to consciousness. We have our physical aspect of consciousness, which we call the thinking brain. For those of us who learn to meditate, there is awareness, which is the doorway between the world of time and the world of no time, which is the moment. So we've got thinking brain, we've got awareness, and we've got unconditional love from source, and then we've got pure consciousness. We can create from any of these aspects of consciousness. A lot of us create from the thinking brain, which is known as ego. So a lot of what we experience and go through in this world is generated from the egoic perception. Once we learn to get in touch with the other aspects of consciousness, namely awareness and we'll say consciousness, we can create from there. We can also create from love, which, as I've been shown and taught, is the most creative aspect of consciousness. So when we love something, we create a world that is quite different to an unloving world. It's a world of connection, it's a world of empathy, and it's a world of understanding, which I've been shown is what we're being asked to come back to, is that world of conscious creation through a loving, connected presence.
The very first thing that came over me was this absolutely profound sensation of love. I mean, and it was so unconditional. A love of the child of the mother, the two of those interacting. And that love was so totally unconditional, it was overwhelming to me. And that was beautiful and wonderfully accepting. And as I proceeded into this, the sense of this very profound love was followed by a sense of purposefulness, that whatever is happening has a point to it. I ended up in more of a space. I'm not standing on grass and I'm not out into the woods and there aren't streets paved with gold, but where I'm at is in a space. And a high spiritual being has greeted me. And there's two other spiritual beings, one on the left, one on the right. And I'm being communicated with. I cannot recreate the sounds in my mind. But I was greeted as an old friend and a loved brother. And that if I chose to go home, come home, I could. Yet I had not finished what I was there to do. And they said, look, they didn't say look, but immediately the thought was communicated to me that all the skills and all the talents and everything that I've been given, which I've been very, very, very blessed with, were for a purpose greater than the purpose that I used it for. The purpose of making money in it itself wasn't it. That there was another purpose for it. And that they should now be applied in some ways that would be shown to me. Absolutely, that's the moment my life changed. That is the moment my life changed. When I came back, my heart is filled, and you would describe this as being on fire. Your heart feels like your heart's on fire. And it's on fire with love, okay? The sensation of love that I experienced as I was going through the out-of-body experience has retained itself. I'm there. It's in me. It hasn't gone away. It hasn't changed.
This time I was totally alert and I watched it happen. I watched my body move away in the circle bed. And I looked down, I was back up in the blackness, and I looked down, and my body was in that circle bed in like a bubble, and crying hysterically. And then I looked out into the blackness, and there was another bubble, and in it was me at about a year old, face down in my crib crying, just as intensely. And I kept looking back and forth between the two scenes because I was, obviously confused. And about the third time I looked back and forth, it hit me. There was a very strong presence of this being that was an energy or a force, certainly not an old man with a long white beard, but an energy that just moved through me and was still it, that was just pure love. If you took the love I felt from my grandmother and you multiplied it by about 1 million, maybe that you could get the intensity of this love. It was very warm and very, it held me up. And as I realized that, I had been an atheist until that moment, but as I realized that, then the baby in the crib became the center of a cloud of bubbles. And in the cloud of bubbles, in each bubble there was another scene from my life. And together, this being and I bounced through all these bubbles, and I re-experienced my life. And I re-experienced everything, including what the other people in the bubble experienced too. I mean, I wasn't just re-experiencing it as myself, but I was my mother and my dad and my brother and my boyfriend who went on to become my husband, and then my kids. I was them as well as me. And I could feel the love, and I could feel the negative times too. I could feel everything that was going on.
And so as I started to feel really comfortable, I felt like my body was just expanding, and I was feeling the safety. I was feeling like great waves of love, and everything became light. And I remember I was lying down, and I just felt like my whole being was expanding and expanding in this amazing love where I felt completely safe, like nothing else that I had felt before. And like there was nothing to do, and I just was kind of taking it all in. And it was such a deep contrast from the fear and the anxiety and the constriction that I had felt minutes before, that I just completely took it in, and I just felt amazing. It just felt like it was clouds, like a very misty white all around me, with these beings around me felt very held and contained. And I just wanted to lay there and be in that. There was no urgency. There was nothing at all that I needed to do. It was just taking it in and expanding in this amazing, unconditional love and light.
My near-death seemed to be about a lot of wisdoms that I needed. After digesting this wisdom, I became engulfed and immersed in what I call liquid golden love. It totally immersed me, surrounded me. It was moving, seemed to be moving around my body, my aura, whatever. It was swirling. It was holding me in all my fears and all my memories and all my, everything I was feeling and experiencing. It was holding me. And what I observed was, as it was holding me, it was such a love that I've never experienced before. And it was dissolving all my memories, all my fears, my doubts, my judgments of myself or others. And I could feel everything was like dissolving inside of this love that was holding me. And I curiously asked, is that God? Yes. Intuitively, telepathically, I received the answer. Yes. That's God. That's you. That's love. That's light. Let your light shine. This love just held me so immensely. And as I deeply felt held in all this love, everything just dissolved. And all there was left was peace, as if everything was wiped clean from me.
So based on that interpretation, I saw that dim light approaching me. As it approached me, I realized that it wasn't a light, but it was a group of beings that they were approaching me. And as they approached me, they start swirling around me in a counterclockwise direction. And as they swirled around me, I began to feel that I was bathed with peace and love, one that cannot be described here on earth. In fact, everybody that I have listened to, talked to, or read about who have had a near-death experience claim the same thing, a love that cannot be put into words, because even the closest description will fall short to that understanding of love and peace. Is, for example, unconditional love. You can put the love at different levels. Love for your parents, your lover, your children. And the top unconditional love is right here, but the love that I'm talking about goes beyond even the screen that we're sharing right now.
And I felt this just tremendous unconditional love and peace and warmth, but also coolness at the same time coming over me. And again, it was all coming from behind me. So I turned fully around and I see this gentleman. And I had this thought, you must be God. And without him moving his mouth, he said, no, son, I'm not God. I'm your guide. I kind of followed up with, well, are you Jesus? Because being raised Christian, I just didn't quite understand the dynamic of what I was watching, what I was seeing, what I was experiencing. So my follow-up question was to ask if he's Jesus Christ. And he again answered, no, son, I'm not Jesus. I'm your guide. And he explained that his name is Drake and that he was here to help me go wherever I wanted to go. He motioned with his hand, like, do you want to go back to your body? And I looked back and I could still see the hospital room, and they were doing so many things to save this man's life, my life. And it looked like so much pain. There was no question that I didn't want to go to the body. I wanted to go wherever this energy is that he was sending to me. And I explained that to him. I want to go wherever this love or wherever this energy is coming from. I want to go there. And he said, okay, that's coming from your home, where you came from originally and where I came from originally, and I can take you back there. So we began our journey. I felt like we were going towards heaven, and I had recently kind of cleaned up my life and started to live a lot better life. I felt like I deserved to get into heaven. And I told him, I said, well, that's perfect. I already know what I need to know. I've accepted all the things that you're supposed to accept so you can get into heaven. And he looked at me kind of like I was a toddler, like with a loving smile on his face. And he explained that he was very happy that I felt that way, but he wanted to help me get to even a higher level of understanding of that love that he was allowing to me, or he was bringing to me. And that in that understanding, we could actually go to our home. But I did have to raise my understanding. And in the process, I had to raise my love energy, which that's hard to understand what that is here on this side of things. But that love energy is a real frequency or energy that's around us every day. And that energy is so high there, it wouldn't be possible to take somebody from here and just bring them there. They wouldn't match that energy. It's almost like they wouldn't even see that space at all. And he explained that to me in simple terms. but it's so hard to explain because everything was nonverbal. It was just direct understanding. So we began this journey, and I kind of had this, oh, I know it's all going to be about love. That's got to be what this is about. And he said, no, actually, the first and foremost, most important thing I have to start with, and the foundation of my growth as a spiritual being, is to understand authenticity and to be an embodiment of that authenticity. And if I can't have that authentic self or know what my authentic self is, I can't grow. And he helped me understand that I had to peel away all those masks and allow myself to figure out who I was at my core. And from there, I could build my love energy. I could build my love frequency to closer match that love energy of heaven. And essentially, I had to stitch together all these ideas of who I was to see the commonality. And as I discovered who I really was, then we were able to actually start moving away from life here on earth and start moving to this dimensional space. And so we began that climbing of the dimensions to get to heaven. And that brought me to what I thought was going to be love again. And I said, okay, so now we're going to do love. Now that I've learned authenticity, and Drake loved that. And he said, that's a great idea. And yeah, you're right. You can't love until you are authentic. But first, even before love, we need to understand why you came to earth. And he explained that earth is just a school, that it's always been just a classroom and it's never been a courtroom. And that was different for me because it wasn't that I was necessarily officially taught that life on earth was a courtroom. I had assumed it from my teaching, from my learning in Christianity. I thought that life was a courtroom where you were coming to be judged, classified, and either kept, retained into heaven or cast away to hell. And he explained that no, I had misunderstood the teachings, and that actually Earth School had always been just a school, a place where we come to learn, to grow, and to develop spiritually, to learn how to build with our thoughts and with our love energy, build relationships, and build cohesive energies to each other, which is relationships, and to grow that energy, grow our ability to love, to reflect love, give love, and to feel love ourselves. Then we got to love. That love was a very important principle in all this, and it was is the strongest energy in the universe, and essentially is the building blocks of the universe. It's what moves and motivates and makes the whole system run. And when you can understand that, you can understand that you're the one that's in charge.
I was processing and going over everything in my mind. I remember also yearning for that feeling of love, but it's beyond love. There's a love beyond love, and the only word I can use to describe it is divine love. Okay, nothing religious about it, zero religious, but it's so sublime, it's divine. I was yearning for that feeling again, and I carried it, but it wasn't the same. I wasn't immersed in it. I was just pulling it from a recent memory. There is a current of love that's behind everything. Everything. Love is literally the basic foundation of everything. It doesn't always show up as pretty. It's got to show up as how we can best see it. But it's always there. Love is literally like the building block of all existence. It's the one cohesive force that just makes everything run. It's sublime, it's beautiful, it's harmonious, it's perfect. And if we can just accept that and see and understand that, it kind of flips the switch on our perspective of things and just helps us to see things in a whole different way.
And I'm going to tell you what happens right before you pass or while you're passing. You remember something. You remember the truth. You know what the truth is? It's love. You remember what's important. And the only thing that's important is love, because when you transition, that's what you go into. That's the energy that you transition into. It's the energy of love. It's pure, unconditional love. It's where we come from. And it's what you go back to. And when you're in your transitioning, you feel that and you realize what's important.
These are the things I know. I died and went to the other side, and it appears I can talk to people who are over there now. I know those two things are true. Now, the way I explain them, I don't have the science to back up all of that, but that seems very real to me. The afterlife is real, and those people are living over there, and they talk to us, and they still love us. And it seems to me it's all about love. And that's the thing. It's got to be in the middle. Everything is powered by love. I love what John Lennon says, all there is love. I love that thought because it is the truth. When I'm very much in love with people on the other side, and I talk to them, just like I talk to loved ones on this side. I mean, you know, it's very important talking. And that's the thing that moves across the veil is love. If there's no love, you're not going to get messages. You're not going to hear anything.
And there was such love and such perfection and such forgiveness and such beauty and such warmth. It's ineffable, that word where you cannot, I'll use words like love and forgiveness, but it's just greater than that. It's such a wonderful feeling. And I just stood there, and there's no time on the other side. So, you know, you don't know how long it was, a minute or two probably. It was so wonderful.
And then I realized that there was a presence with me. Mm-hmm. And I can only say that it was a being of light. It wasn't male, female. It wasn't religious. A person. It wasn't a religious figure. It was somebody that I had known me all my life and made me feel completely loved and accepted. This whole feeling of unconditional love that people talk about, it goes all through you. And it's like, you know, feeling the comfort of being rocked in mommy's arms or something like that. Even more than that. It was more than anything that I've experienced on earth. I was 30 at the time this happened. So I married, had 3 children, and, you know, so I had experienced love, but not love like this. Yes. This is just, there are no words, ineffable, as they say.
Did you want to stay in that love?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was perfectly happy with where I was, and this being and I communicated telepathically, and any question I had was answered before I could think of the question. It was like a download of information coming to me. And
I was very much at peace. It's like, well, if this is your time to go, then if it's your time, it's your time. There's nothing you can do to argue with it. And this feeling came over me as I was getting knocked down again. Overwhelming peace. And a feeling of being loved. Like you couldn't begin to describe that feeling. We don't have English for it. You don't generally feel that sort of thing on this planet. I have gone from I'm starting to panic to I have no panic whatsoever. Completely at peace.
I was actually aware of everything that was happening around me. And I actually felt really amazing. I felt really light and free, and for the first time, I felt healed and well. It was like all the pain had gone. All the fear and everything I'd been dealing with was just gone. And I just felt incredible. And I felt as though I was surrounded by beings that were taking care of me. But I also felt that I was just loved, unconditionally loved. And it was the first time I had felt this way in my entire life. And words can't even begin to do it justice to this experience, because it was like for the first time, I didn't have to work at being loved. I didn't feel as though I had to do anything to deserve it or be worthy of it. I was just loved just because I existed.
And I'm standing there trying to figure out what's happened, and about this time, way off in the distance, I see a little bitty light, real small. And I can't tell if it's moving towards me or I'm moving towards it, but it's slowly getting larger. And as it comes up, I can see a being in that light. It's about 8 feet tall. And there was this feeling of absolute, total, complete acceptance. What we call love here is nothing more than fascination. That was love. It did not matter anything I had ever done or thought. And that all sprang up around us all at once, 360. Everything was totally accepted.
And that common thread is love. And that's the universal language that God speaks. The universal language that our Creator speaks is love. And love and light are one and part of it. I really believe that God uses light to create, heal, and transform us.
And there's one set of figures off to my left that kind of catches my attention. And I notice it's like an old man. It's like an elderly man, what they'd be wearing, and kind of like how they'd be standing, and they're playing with a little girl. And as they're playing, I kind of sense they're far away, but they're right next to me. And they're feelings that are very hard to describe. It's like you're over there, but you're right here. And as they're playing, the little girl lets out a laugh. And this laugh just floats through the air and touches me right in the center of my chest. And at that moment, I knew instantly that everything came from this place and that everything would go back to it, that everything came from love, and that everything would return to love, and that only love could exist there. And it was almost like it was like a code. It was like a frequency. Of course, I couldn't understand it at the time. I'm 4, I'm just experiencing and feeling. And later in my life, I would remember this, many years later, once I was normal again, So I'm having this experience where this energy just floats through the air, touches me in my chest, and I just feel everything is love. I knew pain and suffering couldn't exist there. It wasn't that it didn't, it couldn't. It couldn't even form function. So I wanted to stay there. And I expressed that I knew I was home and I wanted to stay. And that's when they said, Stephen, it's not your time yet. We have other things to show you. And I understood that I was here to have a love story with creation itself, with the energy of love itself, and that everything else would play out fine from there. And that started that cultivating. And that's what they were teaching me. They were teaching me how to keep my energy in the present moment with a 0-point field, not be polarized out so that my battery gets drained and my energy gets taken, but also to kind of walk in my authenticity. No matter what it felt like to be authentic to other people, I had to honor my thoughts, my emotions, and the embodiments they would create.
What I believe is this, that we're all made in the image of God. And you say, what is that? Everything is made of atoms. So at the atomic level, everything is made out of the same material. And there's an energy in those atoms. I'm not much of a scientist, but there's an energy, these things are going around, neutrons, electrons. What's moving it? In my heart, I'm saying love. Love is the movement. Love is the energy. So each one of us is made in the image of God because we all have love at our basic foundation, our core. Until you reach that point where you say, there is no separation. But giving up that individual self, my gosh, who wants to give up being me, you? But when you have a moment where you have a God moment, like samadhi, where all of a sudden you are everything around you and within you. You feel the tree, you see and hear the sky. You're all one. And when you have that experience, never again can you really not forgive somebody or not love somebody. You can not like somebody, that's okay. I don't like him, he's mean. But you love him because you know that is you. We're all one. There is no other thing going on.
I'm floating with this separation of light. It's like walls of illuminated light, a brilliance I had never seen in my life, and a feeling of such joy and overwhelming ecstasy being in this illumination of light. And as I'm moving forward, in front of me there appears 2 rows, one on either side of me, of these hooded beings. And having been raised Catholic, my connection to the visuals of them made them look like they were in monks' robes with hoods, and they were brown robes. And there was no sense of anything except floating in between them, and this overwhelming sense of completeness, cherishedness. It's not a real word, but feeling cherished, unconditional love, coming home. It was like coming home. And as I'm feeling these feelings, one of these beings steps forward, the one on the end on the left steps forward, and he speaks to me. And I'm saying he because he felt male, he felt fatherly, he felt protective, he felt caring and kind and loving. And I just felt this sense of connection to him when he spoke to me. A sense of love I had never experienced in my life, a sense of coming home to the very depths of myself, a sense of I am cherished to the very core of my being. I had never felt that kind of love ever.
I think that this is the time in human evolution when the universe is concentrating on helping us to expand our consciousness, helping us to get in touch with who we really are, making that inner connection. I think that it's time in our progress as human beings to become aware of the fact that we are one with God. We are God's children, literally. We are, the core of us is love, and God is love, and we are one with God. I think the universe is helping us to expand enough that we can open to that wonderful feeling and knowledge. I think that perhaps we've spent several hundred years now in an intellectual mode, and I'm not anti-intellectual at all. The intellect and love together create wisdom. The intellect without love can actually be very cruel. And it's time that we became wise human beings. It's time that we put our intellects in the service of our hearts instead of the other way around. And this is what I think is going on now. I think these mystical experiences that those of us who have had near-death experiences have had, mystical experiences that meditators have had, this is all part of the universe's gift to us, because we can then come back and say to others, this is happening. Listen with your heart and you'll know that this is true. And the thing that's made it all so easy is that we have the communications now at this point in our development to make this a worldwide thing.
And that a big part of everyone's purpose is to give this love and to receive the love. It's a circular motion. The love is just moving. It's not static. You may have noticed you feel a lot of love, and then you feel less love, and you feel more love for an individual, perhaps. It's a very fluid thing. it's a vibration of force and energy, and it never is static. So within ourselves, we can learn to build up that love, to increase our capacity for love, our ability to give the love, to feel it. And this is one of the things that some people come back saying, that they learned how to do this, to increase their vibration, to have more positive thoughts, feelings, vibrations, to carry this into the world more fully.
Hugs are very, very different there. Because, when we hug each other here, we're copying what a hug is there. And a hug there is where you're bringing two energies of maybe yin and yang, and you're actually bringing them together to become one. And any power or energy that I had and he had, as we came together, we became like 8 times stronger than what we could have been on our own. And this is a principle that is like an eternal principle, that as we can come together in unity, in commonality, in true unconditional love, we can become 8 times greater than what we could ever become on our own. It's not about your jobs. It's not about your careers. It's about your interactions. It's about how you treat those around you. It's how you're treating the gas station attendant. It's how you're treating the mailman, and how you're treating your coworkers, how you're treating your family. That's what it's about. It's about the love energy within you. As you love others, you actually raise your energy. But as you feel any type of lack of love, you're drawing energy off of people. So in life, we can be energy producers or energy consumers. And that works with love, that works with all sorts of energy. And unfortunately, in this world where it's such a consumer society, everything's about me, me, me. But our real existence is about giving love. You're taught a principle in heaven. Anything that you're lacking, go give to someone else, and you will now receive exactly what you need. But don't get it by going and getting it for yourself. Get it by giving it to someone else. And that allows you to receive it and keep it much longer.